the strangest 6 exciting stories about building the pyramids.
The Pyramid of Khufu remains the remaining wonder of the ancient wonders of the world, and people keep thinking of a constructive secret. There are 6 common beliefs about building pyramids. People of Ad or the giants are the builders of the pyramids. As many pictures of giant human skeletons have spread, it is said that they are of the giants who built the pyramids, and that their height reached 15 meters, and that they are the only ones who are able to transport huge stones from the quarries to the site of building the pyramids. There are other beliefs about beings from space that built the Pyramid of King Khufu, and there is even a famous TV program on the History Channel that talks about this topic. There are many people believe that the pyramids were built by people who came from the lost continent of Atlantis. And there are those who believe that the builders of the pyramids are the Hebrews or the Jews. The Pyramid of Khufu was built by prostitution. The pyramid is not for Khufu. Which of these beliefs do you believe in? Write to us your comment if you are a supporter of one of these theories. Is there another belief that you believe in or hear about besides these beliefs? Write us your comment. But what is the truth? I present to you the truth based on 3 evidences that the ancient Egyptians are the real pyramid builders, and they are the owners of the achievement. The first evidence, it is that the tombs of the workers who built the pyramids south of the Sphinx were discovered, and there the lower cemetery was found in which the workers who transported the stones were buried, and the upper cemetery of the artists, and it has many titles referring to the supervisor on the side of the pyramid, artists, sculptors, and whoever stands in front of port. Next to the cemetery, they found the area where the workers lived, and their number reached 10,000 workers. In the vicinity of the residence, bakeries and fish drying areas were found. Building the pyramid was the national project for all of Egypt. Therefore, it was the families who lived in Upper Egypt and the Delta who sent workers and foodstuffs to the Giza Plateau. There are pharaonic inscriptions showing that there were 10 cows and 13 sheep that were sent daily, and in return they did not pay taxes to the state. Therefore, this discovery confirms to the whole world that the Egyptians were the ones who built the pyramids, and that the pyramids were not built by forced labor. The second evidence, it is the papyrus known as the Wadi al-Jarf papyrus, and it was found in the port of King Khufu near Suez, on the shore of the Red Sea. The papyrus is a diary of the so-called Murar, who was the head of one of the teams of workers, numbering 40 workers, and he arrived with them to Torah, where the stones used to cover the pyramid were being cut. He pointed out that the stones that were cut daily were transported on wooden sleds until they reached the boats in the Nile, and then transported through ports and channels to the pyramid. He also indicated that he had reached an area called Ra Shah, meaning the mouth of the lake. It took a whole day to get from this place to the site of the Pyramid of King Khufu, which was being built. This area was supervised by a person called Khufu. This work was done in the year 27 of the reign of King Khufu, and the king was living in his palace in the Haram area. The area in which the palace was located is called Khufu Lives, and that the pyramid was named Khufu's sister, meaning Khufu's horizon. This is the first time that written evidence has been found that talks about building the Pyramid of King Khufu. A French mission working in the quarries of Hatnaub revealed the method of transporting alabaster stones from the quarries during the reign of King Khufu. The ascending ways of transporting the stones were revealed by the use of wooden vanes. The third evidence, that the height of the people of Odd ranged between 20 and 30 meters. Looking at the inner passages of the pyramid and the size of these people, this invalidates the theory of the skeptics. In addition to the presence of gigantic great structures in Yemen, the desert of the empty quarter, and the absence of such structures in Egypt, and I hope that all skeptics looking at the lengths of Egyptian mummies. As for the widespread photos, they are photos that are not in Egypt, and many of them were faked and published as real, and you can come by yourself to find that there is no trace of giants in Egypt. As for the relationship of the Jews with the pyramid, Professor Israel Finkelstein, head of the Institute of Archaeology at Tel Aviv University, said that there are no historical or archaeological testimonies indicating that the Jews were the builders of the pyramid. And by referring to historical evidence, it is clear that there were no Jews in Egypt when the pyramids were built. Also, the holy books of the Jews, such as the Talmud and the Old Testament, do not contain any indication of this, knowing that they are historically closer to the event, and if this was done, the Jews would have mentioned it first, and that the pyramid was built in the Old Kingdom and the Middle Kingdom, and the matter is not possible from a chronological point of view. As building, the pyramid stopped completely before the end of the Middle Kingdom era, before 1640 BC, while the Israelites appeared in Egypt under the Egyptian New State. With regard to the issue of prostitution, Herodotus said in his book that the Pyramid of Khufu was built with prostitution when Khufu asked his daughter to practice prostitution, so every man would give her stones to complete the construction of the pyramid, and this is not true at all. Herodotus came to visit Egypt at a time when Greece was hostile to Egypt, and therefore he was biased towards his country in the way of writing Egyptian history, because he often relied on Greek sources present in Egypt at the time. But at the same time he listed important facts which we cannot deny, so he records all the evidence that he sees, referring to Manetho, who wrote the history. But the original copy of the history of Manetho was lost during the fire of the Library of Alexandria, and only excerpts from this date arrived that were transmitted by some historians. Recently, the British newspaper Express published a report on the Pyramid of Khufu, where it claimed that some believe that the name of Khufu, which was discovered on the walls of the Great Pyramid, one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world, was added in May 1837, and that the person who mentioned this is called Zechariah Sachin. And the strange thing here is that this person did not study Egyptian antiquities, and that what he said was nothing but a failed attempt at fame. And in Egypt, there are many papyri that bear the name of King Khufu, and his order to build the pyramids. As well, there are inscriptions on the famous statue of Hamuno, who bears the title of Chief of the Pyramids. I believe that this evidence presented to you is very sufficient to prove the invalidity of the existence of giants or people who returned, or aliens, or any people who came from outside Egypt to build the pyramids. Those who built the pyramids of Egypt are the Egyptians themselves, with sects of free people, not slaves. In fact, people who are not specialists, or who have not visited Egypt in the first place, or who love fame, will not stop creating interesting and strange stories about the secret of building the pyramids. The truth about the pyramids can be found in many sources. The most important source you can find is from the operators by building it themselves, and they are the ancient Egyptians. Simply, you can visit the pyramids and see the tombs of the workers, the inscriptions of the kings, and the mummies of the ancient Egyptians. In fact, there is much more worth to your visit to Egypt. And then, believe me, you will defend Egypt by yourself against anyone who claims that among the people who built the pyramids are not Egyptians. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, please hit like. If you want to watch more videos about secrets and interesting stories about Egyptian civilization, or the best places worth visiting, please subscribe to the channel. And do not forget to write to us your comment about the video or any topics that you would like us to review in the upcoming videos.